little COVID-y. Still a little COVID-y.
Oh, no. Okay, I will start letting everybody in, and then I will start talking once I see like a good amount of people in. Does that sound good? Hi, everybody. Welcome. We're going to get started in just a minute. Just letting everybody in. Thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, I'm going to get started. Thank you again, everybody, for coming tonight. My name is Danielle. I am the community manager here at Calibrate, and I am really excited that we join forces tonight with our partners at AllSwell Creative, a company dedicated to fostering analog expressions of creativity as a means of supporting mental well-being. And it's especially exciting that we are having these conversations in this workshop tonight, as May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So welcome all of those who are joining us from the AllSwell community. Laura Rubin, AllSwell Creative's founder, will be leading tonight's workshop. She is a successful entrepreneur, published journalist, editor, and she recognized the power that the writing process provides when applied to the self. Laura initially launched AllSwell Creative with a series of blank notebooks as an antidote to digital overwhelm. Now she leads workshops for companies and provides one-on-one coaching to help organizations and individuals become happier, healthier, and more visionary. So we're going to kick off tonight's event with me sharing a teeny bit about Calibrate for those of you who may not be familiar. And then after that, I'll pass it over to Laura to dive into the workshop. Feel free anytime throughout the evening to drop us a question in the chat or the Q&A feature at the bottom of the Zoom. I'll be feeding Laura questions throughout the evening. And this is being recorded, so we will be sharing it out with everybody who RSVP'd after the event, and it'll also be live on our blog by the end of the week. So first off, what is Calibrate? Calibrate is the first metabolic health company changing the way the world treats weight with its one-year virtual program that combines doctor-prescribed GLP-1 medications with intensive lifestyle intervention through an app-based curriculum, one-on-one video coaching that leads to an improved metabolic health markers and sustained weight loss. So at Calibrate, we have 4 pillars of metabolic health. Those are food, sleep, exercise, and emotional health. And you'll work through those pillars with your accountability coach and an accompanying Calibrate curriculum in our app. We're really excited this evening to focus on our emotional health pillar with Laura to give our community an additional tool for staying grounded. We hope you all enjoy it. And now I'll pass it over to Laura to begin.
Oh, Danielle, thank you so much for that warm welcome and for creating this space for us to come together and put pen to paper. I especially want to thank each and every one of you for prioritizing your mental health and your creative voice. I just am truly touched that so many of you are here, and it is a pleasure to be moving pens across paper together with each of you. So as Danielle mentioned, I founded AllSwell with the intent of bringing more people to the page. I recognized when I founded AllSwell about 7-8 years ago now, PR had a bit of a, journaling had a bit of a PR problem, that it was more associated with, like teen girls scribbling and overly scented bath bombs and being the legitimate modality for mental, emotional, and even physiological well-being. Since then, it's really been gratifying to see how the zeitgeist has swung so far in this direction. And now journaling is considered to be it's like journaling is the new meditation, which was the new yoga. It's everywhere. And it just is so gratifying to see people embracing this incredibly accessible tool. So what you may not know is that all the wide-ranging scientifically proven benefits that journaling provides for you. It helps you boost mood. It helps you sleep more soundly. It helps ease depression and curb PTSD. On the physiological side, it helps boost your T lymphocytes, which is essentially the backbone of your immune system. It helps curb asthma. It helps speed wound healing. All of these things available to you simply by the act of putting pen to paper. So if you weren't already engaged and excited about this practice, I hope you will be even more so now. So I want to start with a couple of readings that I have for you that I pulled in order to sort of whet the palate. The first one, as you can see, is a quote from the incredible Bell Hooks. And she says, "Listening does not simply mean we hear other voices when they speak, but that we also learn to listen to the voice of our own hearts as well as inner voices." And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to listen to those inner voices. We're going to listen to our heart. And the thing is that in this incredibly connected digital age, we're in this hall of mirrors of prompts asking us to respond, react, respond, react, respond, react. Where can we tap into that innate voice? We all are unique, creative individuals. And how do we tap into that? Well, a really good way to do that is by cracking a journal and spending some time on the page. So we're going to do, I'm taking you on a little bit of a journey, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to start by being connected, by being present, and then helping create, fertilize, pull out the weeds, whatever doesn't serve us, fertilize that soil with some really positive intent, and then plant seeds for a flourishing future for yourself. That's the journey that I'm going to take you on tonight. And I should just mention ground rules. I will not ask anybody to read from their journals. That is antithetical to the whole point of journaling. I will be asking some questions about what the experiences were like for you. Please feel free to drop your questions or your comments in the chat. We appreciate your participation. This is a community experience, and by you sharing your voice, you may be encouraging somebody else to deepen their experience and deepen their practice. So we're going to start with this poem by Anne Sexton, and it is called Welcome Morning. And she wrote, "There is joy in all, in the hair I brush each morning, in the cannon towel newly washed that I rub my body with each morning, in the outcry from the kettle that heats my coffee each morning, in the spoon and the chair that cry, 'Hello there, Anne,' each morning, in the Godhead of the table that I set my silver plate cup upon each morning. All this is God right here in my pea green house each morning. And I mean, they'll often forget to give thanks, to faint down by the kitchen table in a prayer of rejoicing as the holy birds at the kitchen window peck into their marriage of seeds. So while I think of it, let me paint a thank you on my palm for this God, this laughter of the morning, lest it go unspoken. The joy that isn't shared, I've heard, dies young. So in this context, I just want to say, because I understand that we have lots of people from different backgrounds, God can be interpreted whatever way you are comfortable with it. Maybe it's open to interpretation, and I hope you'll receive it that way. What I particularly love about this poem is that she is invoking all of her senses, right? She is being utterly present. And I don't know about you, but often I get so cerebral that I feel like I'm a brain just walking around on stilts. And a wonderful way to drop into your body and be more present is to do what I call a sense check. So crack your notebooks, pick up your pen. This is where we're going to start as a way of being more present. What I want you to do is drop into the present moment and observe. Use your powers of observation to see what you are hearing, what you are touching, what you're tasting, what you're smelling, and what you're seeing. So it's very simple. Remember, nobody else is going to read this. Grammar points don't count. Good handwriting doesn't matter. None of it applicable here. Nobody's going to grade you. This isn't an assignment that you're doing for school. It's just for you. This is what I call a mindful writing activity to help me shift from here to here. And it works for me to drop my cortisol levels, and I can feel the difference in my body. I'm breathing more fully and I'm more present. So I'm going to let you do this for just 3 minutes. That's it, 3 minutes. I'll keep the time and I'll let you know when it's time to come back. And Danielle's going to put some music on for us. If you like it, great. If you're not into it, turn it down. It's all about what works for you. And if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Enjoy. Welcome back. How was that? Did you find that one sense was easier for you to access than another, perhaps? Were you able to, for instance, hear and then hear beyond the hearing? Maybe you heard the hum of your refrigerator, but beyond that, there was a dog being walked outside, or somebody in another room that you noticed. Were you able to feel the difference in your body? Was there that shift that that I was hoping that you would be able to invite yourself to? You know, certainly Calibrate talks about mindful eating, and I'm sure you've heard of mindful movement. So we can also bring that ethos of mindfulness to our writing practice as well. And I hope that you will be able to tap back into this whenever you need a little source of groundedness, because it's there for you. So we're going to move on to a quote that I have from an English psychoanalytical writer on the self-critical part of ourselves, right? So we all have these inner critics that are pretty rude. Like the inner critical monologue often is sometimes cruel, and we say things to ourselves that we would never allow somebody else to say to us. And that's also true about our creative practice. And one of the things that is wonderful about journaling is that there is no third party reader. You're not doing this for judgment or likes or anything of the kind. It's just for you. And yet you may find that that critical voice still shows up for you, that perhaps it's telling you that you're not doing it right, or you're not doing it well enough. But there is no right or wrong with journaling. There's just do. So I brought this to you as a way so you could recognize it when it shows up. And Adam Phillips says, were we to meet this figure socially, as it were, this accusatory character, this internal critic, we would think there was something wrong with him. He would just be boring and cruel. We might think that something terrible had happened to him, that he was living in the aftermath and the fallout of some catastrophe, and we would be right. Because often our critical voice is rooted in some trauma from our past, and it plays out in this way of bringing us these negative messages. So if, in fact, you do hear that total jerk show up, right, that critical voice, I just want you to be aware of it. And when you hear it, you're, whatever it's saying, oh, I don't sound like Joan Didion, or, oh, I should be, my writing isn't good enough, or no. Just recognize that's your inner critic saying things that aren't serving you. Say, okay, I notice it, keep going, okay? So we are going to move on to the next journaling prompt. And this is what I call self-appreciation. And I created this deck of journaling prompts with psychiatrist Dr. Monisha Vasa. Everybody hear me okay? With Dr. Monisha Vasa, I created, there's 52 cards, literally like a deck of cards with a write and draw prompt on each. And it was a way to give people an analog tool to get the most out of their journaling. And so there's a 10% off discount code called, it's just Calibrate. If you want to order these for yourselves, please do. They're available on allswellcreative.com. So I pulled one for us to use today, and that is, I want you to make a list of 15 things that you like about yourself, right? Self-validation is incredibly important. Self-worth is the bedrock of all positive decision-making. If we don't feel good about ourselves, it's a lot easier for us to fall into negative thought patterns and the need for external validation. If we're validating ourselves, then we're above that fray. So what I'd like you to do is think about 15 things that you enjoy about yourself. They might be external or internal. For instance, because I was doing this exercise, I realized one of the things I like about myself is that when I walk my dog, I don't bring my phone because I want to be truly present with my puppy. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I make a great grilled cheese sandwich. I'm a pretty good listener to my friends for them, things like that. And yeah, I think I have really pretty feet. So those are some of the things that are on a typical list that I may come up with. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical, it can be other things as well. And I want you to take 4 minutes to think about things that you appreciate about yourselves. Any questions? Great, enjoy it, and I'll let you know when time is up.
What do you say? Is this the time for one more try at a happy life? What do you say? Is this unwise to think my fears will not be right? Can't be late. It's a rising tide, like an hourglass, running out of time. So what do you say? What would you decide? It's a win or lose on a rolling dice. Gonna get out of the water, gonna leave the stone. 'Cause everybody's gotta get there somehow. I won't wait another.
Okay, welcome back. 4 minutes of self-celebration and appreciation. Were you able to make it to 15? Was it hard? Did it feel good? Did you have to rack your brain a little bit, or did it flow pretty easily? One of the things that I recommend, Lynette's saying it was tough. You know, the harder that it is, the more important it is to do this exercise. And what I recommend is that you do it with some frequency, because what's wonderful is it becomes a lens that you use in your life. You start noticing things that you appreciate about yourself and store them away to write them down on your list. So again, the harder this is, the more important it is for you to do. And for extra self-esteem points, push yourself to 30. I try to do this as a way of checking in myself and using it as a platform, instead of a lot of the self-help world and the wellness world is all about ways that you can better yourself, as if there wasn't something beautiful and perfect about you already. But there are many beautiful, perfect things about you just as you are. It's not necessarily all about bettering oneself. Sometimes it's just about celebrating already what is. And I hope that you will come back to this. Maybe it's something that you want to try to do monthly. Just play around with it and see. Remember, I only gave you 4 minutes. So give yourself a little more time next time. Maybe give yourself 6 minutes, give yourself 7, 10 even, and just, enjoy it. If it's something that really you just can't get past like 10, which I understand, it seems like a lot of people sort of got to that 10, 11 mark and then they started scratching their heads, which I get. Think about somebody who really cares about you. And what would they say about you? How would they describe you? What wonderful and beautiful things do they have to say about you? And use that. And you can pick a different person each time that you do this, and play around with it. Again, all I'm trying to do is give you lots of different ways of journaling, lots of different tools in your quiver so that you have them to pull from and you can play around with them and make them yours, right? Again, there's no bad way to journal. There's no right way to journal. There's no wrong way to journal. There's just the way that you do it. And that's all I hope for you, is you discovering ways of you coming to the page and feeling great about yourselves. One thing also that's worthy of mentioning is that was a list exercise. And some people tell me that they can't journal, they don't know how to journal, they're totally blocked. And I say, well, do you make to-do lists? And, well, yeah, I make lists. Well, lists count. That was just a list exercise, right? I wasn't asking you to write full sentences. This wasn't prose. Lists are great. They are a wonderful tool. And I highly recommend that you play around with different lists and things that maybe just lists of things that you like, right? Not even things that you appreciate about yourself, but things that you like. I do a list at the beginning of each season of things that I appreciate about that season as a way of grounding me more in present time. And then I go about doing those things. So I better prioritize my time and make sure that I am filling my life with the things that I love. Otherwise, we can just move through time and space so quickly and not even realize it. So lists are a great tool. Okay, moving on. Now that we're present and we're grounded in some self-celebration, let's move on to what we're ready to let go of. So I have this little excerpt of a poem from a contemporary writer, and she says, I love myself, the quietest, simplest, most powerful revolution ever. So ground all of your self-appreciation lists in that place, because it is revolutionary, it is powerful, and it is important. Now I want you to think about what you are ready to release, what you are ready to let go of, what no longer serves you, okay? Maybe it's some patterns, stuck energy, maybe some memories that you're just ready to toss out the window. Maybe it's ways of being or ways of relating to somebody else. I think that all of those things are available to you to say, okay, I'm ready to let them go. It could be a person, a place, it could be a perspective, a piece of cultural programming, all those things. I want you to just slough it all off on the page, sort of like a snake leaving behind a skin. You can drop all the baggage off here on the page. And I don't want you to get too hung up again on doing it right. This can be a list, it can be sentences, whatever way you want to do this. And again, invoke your five senses. Think about things through that lens and see where it takes you. And I am going to give you 5 minutes to do it. Any questions? Wonderful. Enjoy, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back.
You know I need your love. You've got that hold over me. Long as I've got your love, you know that I'll never leave. When I wanted you to share my life, I had no doubt in my mind. It's been you much I lean on you, only you can see. Changes that I've been through have left a mark on me. You've been as constant as a northern star, the brightest light that shines. It's been you, woman, right down the line. Just wanna say this is my way of telling you everything I can never say before.
Welcome back. How was that? Do you feel any lighter? Was it hard or was it kind of sublime? Make you feel empowered to be able to let things go and be able to name them. Did the 5 minutes feel a lot longer than the 4 minutes? Or were you still writing and had more things to say? When I'm hearing it's tough, but it felt a release. Yes, I'm so glad you got there. It was pretty great. It was a pep talk for me. Oh, I'm so glad. Definitely empowering to put it on paper. Yes, yes, yes. Still writing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I am so glad you're having these experiences. Another way to ritualize it for you to consider is to rip it out of your notebook, rip it up and throw it away. Or if you have a safe place to maybe burn it in a fireplace or a fire pit, that can feel pretty great too, just to send it off. And you can say, thank you for your service. I am done with you. Bye bye. I'm hearing, oh, your hand hurts, so you stop. That's actually pretty common. People just aren't used to writing longhand anymore, so their hands get kind of cramped. But I promise you, if you do this consistently, that will stop. It's just that your hand's not used to it, that's all. And you can try to do this on a semi-consistent basis when you're just feeling stuck and you can't sort of name what's holding you back. Bring yourself to the page and write it out. Rip it up, tear it up, toss it. It can feel so, so good. People ask me a lot how often I journal, and I journal pretty frequently, as you can imagine, not every day, but most days. And I tend to journal about twice a day, which sounds like so much, but actually I only journal a few minutes at a time generally. One of the guidelines that I recommend for people who just don't know where to start is what I call 4 by 4 by 4. Try to journal for 4 minutes at a time, try to do it 4 days a week, and try to stick with it for 4 consecutive weeks. If you fall off the wagon, it's okay. You don't have to start the timer over. Just bring yourself back to the practice and keep going. So 4 by 4 by 4. Even the busiest people I know have 4 minutes a day. And there's also this misnomer that you're supposed to be journaling in this perfect setting with this beautiful cashmere throw and just the right adaptogen-laden matcha. I mean, who lives like that? I don't live like that. I have one client that the only time that she has for journaling is after she drops her kids off at school. She pulls over and she leans against the steering wheel and journals for 4 minutes. So just don't feel like you have to be in the perfect environment. It's not about that. You don't need the right outfit. You don't need permission. It's all about just finding your way to the page. Absolutely. I love it if you can ritualize it and you can do something for yourself, like lighting some candles, pouring yourself a glass of wine, or making yourself a cup of tea. And if you have the space and time to do it, great. I would love that for you. But also don't feel like it only has to be that way, because just like any positive wellness tool, right? Like brushing or flossing, if you do it on a consistent basis, you're going to get more benefit out of it. Okay, so now here's where things get really yummy. Okay, we have released. Now it is about what we are about to call in. This is wish making time for yourself. This is visioning. You are empowered to picture whatever you want for yourself, for your family, for your community, for the world at large. You take it wherever you want to go. And I want you to get as granular and specific and again, use those 5 senses. Go deep, go big, go small, get really specific, whatever way you want to do this. But I want you to remember, if that critical voice creeps in and says, oh, you can't do that, or you can't have that, or you're not, able to accomplish that. No. That's just that rude, critical voice. Recognize it, go, okay, jerk, you're not invited to the party, and keep going, okay? So I would like you to do this for 6 minutes and enjoy it. Have fun with it. Just see where the journey takes you. And I want you, if you start hitting a roadblock, start thinking about what somebody who loves you would want for you, okay? Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll let you know when it's time to come back. 6 minutes. Welcome back. How was it? Do you feel all lit up and ready to roll? Was there a shift for you? Were you able to identify things that you wanted for yourself, for your community, for your family, for the world at large that maybe you wouldn't have thought of otherwise? One of the reasons why this activity is so important is that we are all running so much programming that is given to us, right? And some of it's very well intentioned, like what we think our family wants for us. And it can be related to culture, it can be related to age, it can be related to gender, it can be related to even regional stuff, right? There's all of these things that we think we're supposed to do, or expectations people have of us or for us. And again, some of it's very well-meaning. But when you peel all that back and actually connect to what you want for yourself, what you want your life to look like, what you want to bring into the world, what's true for you, it can be nothing short of revolutionary. And things that maybe were your goals are no longer your goals. And that's okay. You can have a dream. Maybe you achieve that dream. Maybe you don't. But maybe it's time for a new dream. And that's great too. You don't have to stay committed to one vision. And we are not fixed individuals. We grow, we shift, we change. And the things that we're going to want for ourselves will shift and change too. What happens when the list of things looks familiar and it hasn't come to fruition in the recent past? Oh, such a good question. So what I recommend is then drill down into one goal. Just pick one, because sometimes if we're trying to do too many things simultaneously, then you're watering down your energy. And what I suggest is just pick one and then workshop that one thing on the page. Okay, how am I going to achieve that? What support do I need? What actionable steps can I take? And what's the time frame for that? And actually commit to time. All right, how many hours a week am I going to commit to achieving this one particular goal? Get specific, because all of that's available for you in your journal. A journal isn't just a place for you to complain on the page. It's a place for you to dream. It's a place for you to fine tune your vision and then utilize it as a way of actually bringing that vision into reality. And I wanted to also mention that in terms of all of this work, right, I'm providing you with prompts. And that may be easier for some of you, because as opposed to just like the blank page, sort of like a blinking cursor, can sometimes feel a little intimidating. I get that. And that's why you're here, right? For me to provide you with different kinds of prompts and exercises. And the deck works beautifully for that as well. But you can also provide yourself with prompts, right? For instance, maybe there's a song or a piece of music that you want to put on, listen to it. It's not about writing an essay about it. Just see what feelings come up or what kind of visuals come up for you, and use that as your jumping off point. If you know, maybe you have a favorite poet, or if you know who your poets are. If you don't, it's a wonderful thing to discover. Find your poets. One of the things that I love to do is just flip open to a random page, read what's there, and then use that as my jumping off point. This is an English lit class. I'm not writing an essay about that particular poem. I'm just using it as a starting point so that I can get out of some of that rant that I tend to do on the page, and elevate myself and challenge myself to go in a different direction. And I feel that it helps me stretch and I get more out of my practice. Now, sometimes all I need to do is complain on the page, and it's better to do it there than somewhere else. That's great too. Again, I'm just giving you lots of different tools for your quiver to come back to. So now what I'd like you to do is something that I call heat seeking. What I'd want you to do is go back and reread this vision you have for yourself, and not read it for grammar or punctuation or tone or anything like that. I just want you to be present to your writing and notice the words or phrases that have a little bit more heat, that have a little bit more energy, and they pop up off the page a little bit. And just circle or underline them. This is called heat seeking, and it's a wonderful way for you to be present to your own writing without that critical voice coming through. So I just want you to take 3 minutes to do it. And if you heat seek your vision and you have some time left, go back to some of the other exercises and heat seek them, and I'll let you know when the time is up. Okay, heat seeking. How was that? Were you able to be present to your own words without judgment? Were you surprised maybe that there was a theme that came up, or that there were things there that you wrote that you sort of didn't even realize you wrote until you paid attention to them? Were there particular words that that surprised you, that really filled you with any kind of emotion? And did it crystallize your vision at all for yourself to be able to do this heat seeking exercise? And you can do heat seeking at any point with any of your writing. And one handy tool is that once you've heat seeked some of your writing, what you can do is take any one of those words or phrases, place them at the top of a blank page, and use that word or phrase as your prompt, as your jumping off point for another journaling prompt. So you are self-generating your own journaling prompts from your own writing. And that's a really beautiful way to drill down even deeper into whatever this vision is and whatever it means for you. Anybody in terms of, a couple questions that came up that I wanted to address. I know that when we were talking about things that self-appreciation, one person mentioned that that work was an area that they really were focused on in terms of a place where they could appreciate themselves. And that is fantastic. And what I say is then try to push past that. See other parts of your life where there are things that you show up and that you're proud of yourself, and you feel good about. Maybe it's a way that you're a friend, or a way that you're, you know, a dog parent. Whatever those things are for you, scan your life for them and find them. It's great that you recognize that work is one area that you feel great about yourself in. Wonderful. Trying to move beyond that next time. It's just a note for yourself so that you're aware of it. Also, I know that for some people, releasing was easier than calling in. Again, this is all about you being aware of things, right? That we don't often take the time to be able to pay attention to these experiences. So just because something was hard doesn't mean it wasn't worthwhile, or something was easy, that doesn't mean it was worthwhile. It's just about being there for and with yourself and paying attention to your own internal creative voice. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm gonna wrap things up with a beautiful quote from Clarissa Pinkola Estes from her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves. And she says, the idea in our culture of body solely as sculpture is wrong. Body is not marble. That is not its purpose. Its purpose is to protect, contain, support, and fire the spirit and soul within it, to be a repository for memory, to fill us with feeling. That is a supreme psychic nourishment. It is to lift us up and propel us, to fill us with feeling, to prove that we exist, that we are here, to give us grounding, heft, weight. It is not wrong to think of it as a place we leave. It is wrong to think of it as a place we leave in order to soar to the spirit. The body is the launcher of those experiences. Without body, there would be no sensations of crossing thresholds. There would be no sense of lifting, no sense of height, weightlessness. All of that comes from the body. The body is the rocket launcher. In its nose capsule, the soul looks out the window into the mysterious starry night and is dazzled. Thank you so much for being here, for making the time and space for yourself. Thank you so much to Calibrate for inviting me into your community. It is an honor and a pleasure. The playlist is also going to be made available by Calibrate. And of course, you have any questions, feel free to hit me up directly. I personally answer any and every single DM through the @AllSwell Creative account. And I just wish for each of you that you keep coming back to the page. It works.
Thank you so much, Laura. That was really, really special. And thank you everybody for your time and commitment tonight. It was so lovely spending an hour with all of you. I will send you guys the Spotify playlist right now in the chat if you want to grab that before we go. And if not, I will see you all next time. Have a great evening, everyone.